Okay, today I'm going to talk about setting up a tenant and providing DARE or data at rest encryption for that tenant. There's a few things you have to do to make sure that's in place, so I want to cover them. So here I am in my cluster manager, and I'm going to create a new tenant. So I'll just enter some details for my tenant. I'll give them 5 users and hit continue. Now, this is the Show Data at Rest Encryption Configuration page checkbox. What this does is the first time my tenant admin logs into this tenant, they will see a page that normally they wouldn't see, and that allows them the opportunity to set up their DARE configuration. So we'll go ahead and set that. We'll continue. So I'm going to create some storage space for this tenant. It doesn't exist, so I have to check that box. The rest looks good. Okay, so that's set up. Notice I have a Show DARE page. That's one of my rights. Okay, so now I have a new tenant admin added here, and that's my login, admin@Boca. And now I just create a few more things. We need to create a team folder. We use existing storage. We'll call this billing. We'll create. And for collaborators, we'll add a native user. The admin always has access. We'll leave it to 0, which is unlimited. Might continue. Alright, now I'm going to give this user read and write access. We'll hit commit. Alright, so now we have another user and a billing folder. So I need to put some things in my billing folder. Okay, so the first moment I log in, this will not be here next time. So we got enable data at rest encryption, which I'll check. And now this password can be as simple or complex as you like, but it will be used in order to encrypt the files. So you definitely need to save this password in case you need to recover encrypted files. So I'll use simple for now since this is just a test. And it gives you this tutorial for the web portal. We'll just skip that. Alright, so here I am. I have my billing folder, and now I'm going to put some content in there. But before I do that, I'm going to jump over to the server on a virtual machine, and we'll take a look at that folder under my C drive where I placed it. And you can see that there's my pictures and documents. And we have these two folders. If I go in here, you see we've got this G-Sync billing. And there's nothing in there at this point. Now let's go back to the web portal. And I'll get some files to throw in there. And we'll just throw some in there. Okay, so we have some files in there now, and of course if I'm in my web portal and I want to view those files, I can. Just hit this open. Okay. And now let's go back to the server and we'll take a look there. And as you can see, they're not your regular readable files. So that looks like the big doc file. Let's just, for fun, we'll copy that. We'll paste it out here. Since it's a doc file, let's just turn it into a doc. Yep. We'll open that up in Word. And you could see that is not readable. So it's fully encrypted. And as is all the other files. So the encryption at rest is in place, and your data is secure. Now another area that you might be curious about is what about clients? Because one of the powerful things about this file sync and share solution is that users can connect from anywhere and get access to their files. So let's jump back over to the portal and let's figure out who we're going to use for this test. So we've got Assistant Brockovich, Assistant at Boca. We'll let them test this. So now I'll open a different machine. We'll go to the Windows 10 machine, and the cloud drive isn't open, so let's go ahead and run that. The Cloud Windows client is now connected. And if we open these folders here, you'll see we've got 3 folders, including the billing folder, which I can look at here. But what if I am logged out and there is a cache where these folders are kept? So we probably should investigate that. So I'll open the C drive in another window. And we'll go into the users. Even though I'm logged in here as Assistant at Boca, the computer user that I'm using is user 2. So we'll go into user 2, app data, local, G-Team client, and there's the Assistant at Boca. Okay, there's nothing going on there. Here's the cache, and it's empty. Alright, so even though we have files here, you can't see them there. Alright, so it's probably because they haven't been opened yet. So let me go ahead and open that. Yep. See, we don't actually transfer the file until you start using it. That keeps everything fast and doesn't require your clients to download a ton of data before your users can get started. So immediately only the files that are being used are transferred, but we do transfer information about the file, just enough to show what files are in what folders, so the users have something to access. So now that I have access to file, I go into this and I could see my file, and here's my big doc file. And of course I can open it from the cache. Now that may not be an issue if it's just one user on a system, but if it's multiple users, you might be concerned that other users might have access to that cache data. So what I'll do is we'll just log this user out. And now if I go into this cache, I still have the file. But the file is encrypted now. So you could see we've secured it, and you now have the comfort in knowing that whether it's being used by a client machine or being used by, say, an administrator of your file server, that when they get access to those at-rest data files, that they are secure from snooping. All right, so I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.